So we're trying to incorporate a little bit of knowledge about sleep to the discussions today and to your learning of Tai Chi. So Tai Chi is really an amazing exercise in order to allow us for improving relaxation, improving breathing control, and allow a lot of the natural process of sleep to take place. If we take a step back into looking into sleep science, we'll know that this is something that has not been well known or discussed scientifically for the past 100 of years. It started with a historical perspective that sleep was very similar to death. And then up to about 100 years ago, we really did not know the distinction between those two. And we can see on this picture, the two brothers, one is dead, the other is asleep. So we always had a perception that sleep was just a passive mechanism of the body. And now we understand that it's actually very active. In 1929, Austrian researcher, Dr. Hansberger, was the first one to describe electrical activity being generated by the brain. And he also described that this electrical activity changed as the period of sleep would progress. So here is just a timeline showing us over an 8-hour sample of sleep, for instance. We can see the change on all these squiggly lines of activity that change into what we call different stages of sleep. We have stages 1, 2, and 3. Stage 4 was combined into stage 3. And those two stages comprise to what we call as a slow wave sleep. Stage 1 is more of a transitional stage, so we shouldn't be spending a lot of time on that. Stage 2 tends to be the bulk of our sleep. But we can see that the stages change as the night progresses. So we have cycles of sleep that are typically 90 to 120 minutes long. At the end of each cycle, we have a period of REM sleep. REM sleep is a very unique stage because it resembles stage 1, but instead of us being still active in a transitional state, it has a release of hormones that paralyze the muscles. So during that time is a lot of the dreaming content that takes place, and we really were unable to move, which is a normal phenomenon. But if somebody were to wake you up out of REM sleep, you may notice that you have what we call sleep paralysis. So there are some sleep disturbances that may come out of different stages of sleep. People that, let's say, sleep talk or sleepwalk, those are behaviors that tend to come out of the circle type of sleep, such as a delta sleep, stages 3 and 4, which is a very slow wave, high amplitude activity of the brain. This is very important scientifically when we look for sleep disorders, but on a day-to-day basis, I don't typically recommend for people to be looking too deeply into this and putting too much effort or distraction into determining what their own stages of sleep are. Because again, it is a natural process and the brain will really achieve the states of sleep that it really requires to. In addition to that, we have what we call sleep pacemaker cells. And those are cells that dictate circadian rhythms. So circadian means around a 24-hour cycle. And basically we have our own rhythm of sleep coming in every 24 hours. And this rhythm is synchronized to day and night. We can see that we have the neurons on green. You can see there's about 20,000 neurons highlighted here. They sit right behind our eyes. So they take information from the retina on how much light we're exposed to and create and perpetuate these oscillations. And this is now connected to the rest of the body. So the circadian rhythm is a rhythm of sleep, but not only of sleep. Many hormones follow, most of our hormones follow the rhythm, and our body temperature also follows the rhythm. And this is so important that a couple of years ago, 3 researchers, one being a colleague at Rockefeller, Dr. Michael Young, won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for their research in circadian rhythm. And this is just to highlight the importance of this rhythm into our health, into our physical and mental health. So our task for this week would be for us to try to figure out how to focus on one of the key elements of sleep, which is timing, trying to keep a regular cycle of sleep. So that would be our task for this week. Next week, we'll talk about sleep duration and sleep quality. We forgot to enhance quality of your sleep and incorporating all the relaxation instruments and the teachings that we're getting from Master Young. So this week's tip for you all and homework will be to try to keep a regular sleep schedule. And then we'll meet again next week.